Here we go. Mr. Moose is going to help us demonstrate how I do the trim on the ears. I do the ears after I'm done with the body and the head, so it's going to be nice and proportional. I'm using the chunkers here and to set the length on the outer side and also around the edge. I use the comb very frequently when I'm doing the final trims to make sure that all the hair is nice and fluffy, there are no tangles and mats, and it's gonna be a nice and even trim because all the hair is positioned in one direction. I like to squeeze together the ear leather, so that way my fingers running further away from the skin, so there is no chance I can hit the skin, unless I'm holding the ear in a way and the shear in a way that the edge of the ear, the edge of the shear will run further than my fingers are and hit the ear in that positioning. Now I try to avoid that positioning for one, and to keep the ear, the shear around the ear in a way that it's not gonna, I'm not gonna use the sharp edges only on the areas I really want to, so you can avoid it like that as well. I'm positioning the ear to go around the edges, as you can see here, to keep Moose nice and still. And as you can see, it's already looking way better. The outer edge is a little bit still spiky, so I'm trimming that off as well with my more detailed thinning shear. You might saw me changing tools here, and I'm finishing it up to leave the ears nice and doodly. Moose's mom asked me to do the potato chips ears, so that's the proper name for them. I'm trimming the edge a little bit more on the inner side to make sure that it's gonna look nice and straight, and there's not gonna be anything sticking out. Oftentimes by behind the ear there is stuff sticking out, so I like to use my thinning shears to go around there and blend them in. And also on the inner side of the ear leather, as you can see, I'm positioning the ear in my hand in a way that I'm always aware where the skin part of the ear is, and once I know that, I can stay away from that area. I still Moose wants to change positions, and I'm totally fine with that, whatever he wants to. I'm totally fine. I'm trimming the inner side a little bit more because you can see it's a little bit more fluffy, and we want to avoid that. I'm holding the outer side of the ear, so it's gonna stay that way, and we're gonna make it nice and even. If we compare the two ears, we're gonna already see a huge change. We're gonna position Mr. Moose in a way that I can get a good access to the other ear to do some trimming. I hold the inner side of the ear with my left hand, so you can see Moose is moving his ear a little bit, but I'm holding it there. Since he was moving it a little bit more than I want him to, I'm changing holding technique, and I'm combing out the hair to make it nice and fluffy, and I'm doing again the edge to set the length on the ear so I can shape the outer and inner sides to make it nice and proportional. I'm going fairly fast here. Again, I'm using the chunkers. There is a bigger gap between the teeth, as you can see, comparing to the previous one I used. So to set the length, I use these type of thinning shears to get that amazingly shaggy, easy look on the doodle. You can see me holding the ear, the skin part of the ear between my two fingers. That's critical here. In case you were doing it without that, 100% sure it's guaranteed that you're gonna hit the skin. And ears are another thing that when they bleed, it takes forever. It's very hard to heal. There's not much you can do beyond keeping the doggy from shaking, and it's just such a huge ordeal that it's much easier to avoid it. Plus the pain is not fun for anyone. So with these holding techniques, you're gonna be able to avoid them and still keep the doggy comfortable. you saw me doing a little trim, and we're gonna go back to combing it again to see how the hair sets on the ears and which areas we need to trim a little bit more. When I can see something that is still sticking out from other areas around, then I'm gonna trim that and continue with the ear. Look at that cute puppy. He is so pretty. I mean, adorable, handsome. And I'm finishing up the other side of the ear, and as you can see, I'm only opening the shear when I'm trimming. When I'm positioning the doggy, the shear is absolutely closed. That's critical safety practice, so we really don't want that. I'm moving my equipment out of the way. We don't want him to lay on them, but that's a critical safety practice, to hold and keep the shears closed so we can avoid the doggy moving in between the sharp edges. I'm checking the ears from the front, and they still need a little bit of trim by the tip of the ear, so it's gonna be that potato chips look, what Moose's mom was looking for. I'm still feeling to trim a little bit more from the face. Dog grooming is pretty much a never-ending story. You can stop but never finish. And it's gonna be easier to find that fine line when you can finish with letting the doggy shake. So that's what we did here.